So today is the second round of our STEM Taster Food and Fibre PD session. So the DPI and Fibre are partnering together to obviously bring these to you. So from Fibre we have Jane Johns.
Hello there. How you going?
Jane. So she'll be telling us about some of the amazing new things that are from the Fibre space, and I'll follow up with some resources that we've put out through the DPI. So I'll quickly just do an acknowledgement of country. So I acknowledge that I'm hosting and recording this webinar from the lands of the Wiradjuri people. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands in which you are all joining us from today, and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in this webinar. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of New South Wales. Excellent. So thank you all for joining us. And I think on that note, so that we can sort of keep to time, I might hand over to Jane.
No worries. Thank you so much for that, Megs, and thank you everyone for having me today. It's lovely to be here with you. I'm just going to share a short presentation with you, and we will have a bit of an exploration into who Fibre is. You may or may not be familiar with the organisation, so I'll just give you a bit of an overview of who we are and what we do, and then we'll have an exploration into a couple of the programs and resources that can be used to support you in implementing agricultural education into your classrooms. So, who are we? I hear you cry. Fibre is a not-for-profit foundation which is funded by industry members. So funded by industry members such as, Cotton Australia, Meat Livestock Australia, Pork, and also our associate members. And what we do is we develop and promote agricultural learning resources for students in years foundation all the way up to year 12. And this includes things like lesson plans, units of work that we develop alongside our industry members. So we've got, a diversity of resources that we're showcasing that are relevant to the regions in which you're teaching, because it's, really worthwhile to be teaching about ag that is taking place in your region. So here you can see our member organisations along with our associate members here. And here are just a few of the programs and projects that we facilitate. So a few that I will highlight are the Prime Zone website. And I know that a lot of you are established ag teachers, so you're probably familiar with the Prime Zone website already. But in case you aren't, the Prime Zone website houses learning resources for students in years foundation all the way up to year 12. And these include things like interactive games, videos, along with comprehensive units of work and worksheets that you can use. And they're related to various different industry organisations. So depending on what you're interested in and what your students are interested in learning about, it's likely that you will find something relevant and useful on the Prime Zone website if you have a suss. The next one that I'll just highlight is the Career Harvest website, which is an awesome tool if you're a senior years teacher, because it offers careers information around all kinds of agricultural industries for both students and teachers. So if you're looking to give advice to students that are seeking careers in agriculture as they're leaving school, or if you're looking to, provide some guidance and direct students there, you can give them the website and get them to have a look. And our Career Harvest expert actually has some really fantastic games that you can use in the classroom that students can familiarise themselves with the website and get an understanding of the different pathways involved in ag careers. And the last one that I'll just highlight that I'm going to talk about in quite a bit of detail today is the Farmer Time program. And that's one that I facilitate all over Australia. And it's a really fantastic program in that it connects primary producers throughout all of the agricultural industries in Australia, whether that be farmers, fishers or foresters, with classrooms to give kids a first-hand understanding of how food and fibre is produced and who's behind that. So as I said, I facilitate the Farmer Time program, and it's an awesome program. What we do is we connect primary producers with students, and we give them the opportunity to ask questions, to see visually what goes on farms, the tools and technologies used in production, and also to ask questions. So Farmer Time sessions come in an array of formats, which I'll talk to in a moment, but just so that you're aware, Farmer Time sessions can be accessed on the Producer Protect It website, which is linked on this slide here, as well as the Fibre YouTube channel. Now, I can pop the links to both of these in the chat after my presentation as well, so that you can just access them. But if you Google Producer Protect It or just YouTube Fibre and then Farmer Time, you can access all of the videos of the Farmer Time sessions. So since the commencement of the Farmer Time program, we've engaged with producers from all of the industries that you can see listed here to talk about the different kinds of production and the way that they are involved in that type of production. So we've tried to seek out a diversity of producers and people along the paddock to plate or farm to fibre supply chain to give students a really good insight into how diverse careers in agriculture are and how diverse approaches to agricultural production are. So as you can see here, there's quite a number of different approaches to Farmer Time sessions and the way that they're looked at. Each of our Farmer Time sessions is designed for a specific year band of students. However, if students from, say, year 9 and 10 are interested in learning about fisheries and it's designed for, junior students, what they get out of those videos is still really worthwhile and still really meaningful. So whilst there are specific curriculum links that are mentioned within the sessions, students can still get a lot out of them. So it's definitely worth having a look if you're presenting a unit of work on a specific industry at the Farmer Time session that we've got available that links to that. So each of our sessions, as I said, is curriculum aligned. What we do is we provide producers with a series of talking points that link to the design and technology, food and fibre outcomes, and generally specific areas of the science curriculum as well. So whether that be biological sciences or whether that be, having more of a look at sustainability. We have also found ways to incorporate Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives. So linking those cross-curricular priorities as well into our Farmer Time sessions, which has been a fantastic way of, bringing ag into different areas of the curriculum. So for teachers that aren't necessarily teaching an ag specific subject, they can still link food and fibre into whatever area they're teaching and show that holistic way that ag links to tech, ag links to sustainability, ag links to all of these areas that students may have interests in. And, there's possibilities for them to work in the ag sector, no matter where their, passions lie. So Farmer Time sessions come in 3 different formats. We've got live sessions, which take place on special events like National Ag Week, which I'll talk to in a lot more detail shortly, as National Ag Week is next week. And also things like Science Week. And what they are, the live ones, is that we open them up to all students across Australia or all classrooms across Australia. And whilst they are, designed for specific year bands, so, the terminology may be directed at years foundation to 2 or years 11 to 12, we open that up. And so classrooms across Australia can sign up. And we provide the producers, as I said, with those series of talking points linking to whichever areas of the curriculum are relevant to the target student audience. And they will present on that specific topic, their specific industry, and they'll link it to those areas of the curriculum. And then students will have the opportunity to be able to ask questions in real time. So just popping their questions in the chat and finding out a little bit about that specific industry. The next type of Farmer Time session we have are our one-on-one sessions. And similarly to the live ones, they take place in real time and they can be via Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, whichever platform is most convenient for the teacher. And the difference between one-on-one and live sessions is that rather than them being open to classrooms across Australia, they are specifically between one producer and one class of students. And so teachers will typically reach out to us seeking a producer from a specific industry that they may have been learning about or that their students have an interest in. And then we source that producer from our Farmer Time database, and we brief them on what the teacher has already covered within the class and what the students may want to learn a bit more about. So there's a bit of collaboration with the teacher there to really target the session. And then we facilitate that Zoom call or that Google Meet call or whatever the preferred platform is. And students get the chance to hear directly from a primary producer and then ask their questions to them. And that's just a really great way of, I guess, making it a very personal and really interactive experience for the students. The final format of Farmer Time sessions that we have are our pre-recorded ones. And these are essentially a virtual farm tour. So PIFA staff go out on farms and we film primary producers speaking about specific areas of their production, and whether that be the paddock to plate journey, whether that be the tools and the technologies that they use, it might be different sustainability approaches that they implement on their farms. And then we edit those videos and we make them into these really beautiful resources for teachers to use. And because they're curriculum aligned, we're then able to write resources around those that give teachers the opportunity to not only use that standalone video, but to also deepen student learning and facilitate further activities, further learning through follow-on activities from there. So as I said, Farmer Time sessions are really meaningful for students when they're incorporated into larger units of work. So whether that be that teachers have already been investigating a specific industry and then students get to have a one-on-one Farmer Time session, or whether teachers use a Fibre, sorry, I've gone completely blank, a Fibre created resource that aligns with the Farmer Time session. And then they're able to, develop a really good understanding of that specific industry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you an example of the way that PIFE has developed, linking resources to give students a bit of a pre-learning prior to engaging in the session. And then we're going to have a chat about some of the activities that can be post or follow-on activities to get kids really thinking about how these sessions are relevant to what they're learning in the classroom and how careers in ag are so diverse along the paddock to plate supply chain. So I'm just going to share first an example of one of the resources that we use alongside our Farmer Time sessions. So this is our farmer profile, and we've created these for each of the Farmer Time sessions that we've got available on our website. And essentially what it is it's a bit of an overview of the video, and it just offers some front loading of vocab that students are going to hear about within the video. And so you can use this as, an independent reading activity. Students can be provided with the link and then they read it themselves. Or it might be that you read it as a whole class and discuss what you'd like the students to focus on throughout the video. And then as they watch, they can sort of take down notes or they can watch that. So the reason I've shown you this one is because we are about to have a look at this Farmer Time session, which is of Farmer Jade, who is actually an agricultural teacher in high school in Queensland. And she got into finger lime production when she set her students the task of researching up and coming markets. And then, some of them came back to her with reports on finger lime production and the ways that these are being used in fine dining contexts. And Jade was blown away by that and ended up diving in headfirst and is now a really, really well-renowned finger lime producer. She's won awards all over the world and is doing really amazing things with her form of production. So as we watch the video now, I'd just like you to have a think about the ways that this session could be used within your pre-existing units of work, or else could be used in specific areas that you're teaching or that you might like to teach moving forward. Let's have a look.
Hi everyone, I'm Jade from Green Valley Finger Limes. It's really good to see you today, or virtually see you. And basically, I live in Queensland on the Sunshine Coast. We're in a subtropical climate here, and it's a beautiful day today. A nice, pleasant, probably around about 25 degrees, even though it's winter still. We have nice rainfall. Most of our rainfall comes through summertime, and my farm is in the area that we call the Glasshouse Mountains, and it's 72 acres or 35 hectares for those that are, obviously you guys are a lot younger than me. And so here on my farm, I've got a couple of farm hands that help me work for the farm, and I employ some amazing backpackers when they're available as well. And the benefit of having backpackers come in and help me pick when it's high season is that I get to learn about their country and they learn about our great produce of Australian native finger limes, which is what I grow on this farm. So finger limes are an Australian native, and they naturally occur around the southeast corner of Queensland, as well as in the northern New South Wales region. And they normally grow in the rainforest areas, and we've taken them out of the rainforest, a bit like the macadamias, and started growing them commercially. Yeah. So you might be asking, what are finger limes? And they're pretty cool. They're very unique. And whilst it says finger lime, the reason for that is they are a bit shaped like fingers, and they are filled with lime pearls. Let me show you a few. We'll come in here. I'll grab this one from the bush. Now I'm doing it without my gloves on, and I'll explain in a minute why I normally wear gloves. But this is one of the small fruit. We cut them open like that. We open them up, and you can see those pearls just bursting out there. Each of those pearls pop in your mouth as you eat them, and makes it a bit of an exciting dish to have on top of ice cream, and also anyone like seafood and prawns, things like that. They can be on all of those things. So the reason I should have worn gloves and why my pickers wear gloves is, and they're very good gloves, they're not just your ordinary ones, is if you come in here, you can see all these spikes all over the bush. And when you're picking them, you can see that the finger limes are right in there, and we have to reach on in through the spikes and harvest those finger limes. So gloves are really important. Also, my pickers and myself wear long sleeves and jeans as part of what we have to do. They are very spiky, and we get a lot of spikes all through our hands. And sometimes in summer when we're harvesting, we'll get wasp nests in there too. So that makes it really uncomfortable to find one of those. And I've been stung on the face and everywhere. So it's not really fun, but the product is worth it. So when we go out and we pick, we normally pick between the December right through to July. So we're just finishing up harvest just last month and now. And we basically go around and we try and get as many of these off all the time. We've got a few different varieties here as well. So if you come down and have a look at these ones I've got here for you. The variety this one here is the Champagne Red variety, and you'll see that there's not many seeds in there, nice pink colour and red. And then we've got over here the Emerald, which is black on the outside, but this vibrant, nice green on the inside. And then this is Chartreuse that has a clear sort of yellow pearl.
I'm just going to stop the video there just because I am aware of time, and I do have not quite a long, but a longish video to show you from my colleague that showcases another of our resources that I'd really like to be able to give the time to. But in terms of farmer time sessions, this one is a phenomenal tool because not only does it link with native food production, which links to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives when you're looking at the cross-curricular priorities, but it also explores management practices. So Jade goes on to talk about the way that she utilises fertigation on her farm to grow her finger limes, and she also talks about marketing in the paddock to plate supply chain there. So on this slide, you can see an example of the way this links to the food and fibre outcomes of the version 9 Australian curriculum. And we've got some suggested learning tasks alongside some supporting prime zone resources that you can access there. And you can also see that there's further suggestions for the same farmer time session, but a different approach to how this could be utilised within the classroom to address that curriculum outcome. I will give you access to this PowerPoint so that if there's any specific farmer time that you're interested in having a look at, or any of the prime zone resources on here that you'd like to explore further, you'll be able to just grab those links rather than having to quickly take down notes on the different links that I've got there as well. So before I just jump into our last quick video that's going to explore a really exciting new resource that MLA and PIFA have been collaborating on, I'll just show you two more suggested farmer time sessions that I think are really relevant to high school students and are also quite interesting in the way that they link to different areas of the curriculum. So the one that I'd like to highlight here is the Allenbank Smart Farm, which is actually a research dairy farm in Victoria, based in Gippsland. And what they do is they try a lot of new tools and technologies to explore ways that productivity, profitability, sustainability, and social responsibility can be improved in dairy production. And so within this farmer time video, students get to see a lot of the new technologies that are being trialled in dairy production and the ways that they're being implemented to try and address those areas. So this is a really great stimulus if you're getting students to think about design and the ways that tools and technologies can be implemented to solve concerns in ag. And another really good one as well is sustainability along the vegetable supply chain, which helps students to get an understanding of the ways that All of the stages along the supply chain are looking into sustainability, and it also looks at some of the impacts of extreme weather events. I know we were just sort of having a bit of a chat about the floods, but within this they talk about hail and the impacts that has on vegetable production. So I guess when we're looking at producers addressing changes in the weather, and particularly in the face of a changing climate, the challenges that faces for producers, but also some of the solutions that are being implemented there. So that's a really great resource as well. Now, as I said, I do have a fantastic video to show you next, which is of a new resource that is in development with Meat and Livestock Australia, and it's just about ready to be published and to be placed on Prime Zone. So I'm just going to show you a short video that my colleague Alison has created for us, and she's been working on this resource for the last, well, I reckon 12 months, and it's very, very close to being finished now, which is really exciting because it's such a comprehensive resource and will be a phenomenal tool for teachers. So I'll just grab that up and we'll have a look.
Welcome to a preview of the newly developed Meat and Livestock Australia resources targeting foundation to Year 10 teachers and students. These resources are contained on the Australian Good Meat Education website and will assist you in teaching multiple areas of the Australian curriculum in an engaging and a hands-on way. The resources aim to promote and encourage learning about Australian livestock production in a respectful and age-appropriate manner that highlights the sustainable nature and consideration to preferred futures of the industry. The resources are aligned to both version 9 and 8.4 of the Australian curriculum, making them easy to search for what you need and to incorporate into your new or existing units of work. In the secondary years, the resources target the design and technologies learning area in an in-depth, up-to-date and hands-on way. The resources focus on sustainable livestock production, both now and into the future, as well as detailing how a product is taken through the supply chain with a dependence on innovation and technology. Students will gain a valuable insight into considerations of animal welfare and also the careers needed in the meat and livestock industry. Each year band from Foundation to Year 10 can access 6 lessons, and each lesson provides you with 4 activities. The activities contain a range of different tasks and are aimed at the appropriate year level. Students will engage in literacy activities, listen to up-to-date multimedia content, participate in hands-on collaborative tasks, and also use technology to navigate and research stimulus and learning materials using links, QR codes, and templates to facilitate their learning. As you navigate through the lessons, you'll see that each lesson has a resource and equipment list. There are detailed lesson guides to support teachers regardless of experience with content, ready-to-use student worksheets that can be completed online, downloaded or printed in depending on your needs. There are also answers and suggested answers to the activities, and an extra feature for Year 5 to 10 teachers is a student online learning task. This aspect of the resource will allow students to take their learning just a little bit further, promote independence, be used as homework experience or even cover material. As we take a closer look at some of the Year 9 to 10 lessons, you will see that each of the lessons has the Australian curriculum codes and content. It's followed by a resource and equipment list with active links and references to all the materials you'll need during the lesson. Following on from this, there's a detailed lesson guide explaining the steps and sequencing that you can take to facilitate the lesson. All resources and worksheets are in both the teacher guide and also the student access area. And at the conclusion of the document, you've got answers to support your teaching. This lesson, Preserving and Preventing Waste, looks at how red meat can be preserved and investigate how food spoilage can be addressed by the industry. Students will use guided source material to learn about the history of preservation of meat and collaborate to create a large classroom timeline of the material. Students will also turn data into graphical representations, allowing them to learn skills in data analysis and unit conversions. Lesson 6, Emerging Production Technologies, looks at technologies in the red meat industry that are making a significant difference to productivity, profitability and sustainability. Students will use up-to-date sources to focus on innovation and technology and look at the differences that are being made within the industry. They'll use a circle of concern to discuss waste and work collaboratively to think about methods of control with respect to this issue. Students will use well-designed templates and provided links to conduct research focused on technologies within the supply chain, and they have the chance to study a particular technology in depth or pitch an idea of their own that can improve production. This year band also has the opportunity to engage with the online learning task, and there's an activity related to each lesson where students can extend their learning and view additional content. Questions and tasks are included and can serve as homework or extension activities. These tasks can be completed online, downloaded or printed. During this task, students can look at management of waste on a feedlot, animal welfare considerations, the NLAS system, the role of meat in a balanced diet, reducing waste and bunk technology. There's also an exciting opportunity for this year group to use the 7 to 10 paddock to plate card game, allowing your students to work together to create a hands-on flowchart. Students will love these activities, and there are 3 games associated with it to learn and consolidate the information about the supply chain process. Here's an example of a 7 to 8 lesson focused on nutritional requirements of adolescents and the benefits of lean red meat. There are a selection of hands-on tasks within this lesson that can be again completed online or printed. MLA know it's important to have an engaging learning environment. To accompany their new resources, they've generated a range of supplementary poster materials aligned to the Australian curriculum. This will provide you with the opportunity to showcase important Australian images within your classroom, and the materials will serve as an excellent stimulus, allowing discussion to take place.
All right, thank you so much for that, Ali. I had the opportunity to review all of those lessons as part of the development process, and I have to say they really are phenomenal. Now, I am aware that I have used up quite a bit of time during this PD, so I won't take up too much of your time. I just wanted to highlight National Ag Week. As I mentioned earlier, it is next week, and to celebrate, PIFE's got a number of live events along with resources that you can access to help to celebrate National Ag Week within your classroom next week. So we've got 2 live careers panels, which are designed for high school students, so from years 7 to 10 students, and these are taking place on Tuesday the 15th of November at 2 p.m. and Friday the 18th of November at 10:45 a.m. They're free to register, and within those panels we'll have representatives from all of our member industries talking about how they made it to their current role, basically, and exploring the diversity of careers within their industry. So we're not necessarily just going to be showcasing producers from each of those industries, but looking at, say, plant breeders in a specific industry or an agronomist and what they do. So giving students a really good understanding of the way that no matter where your interests lie, there is a role for you in ag, and talking about those pathways to give students an understanding of the directions that they could start to look in if they're hoping to make their way into a career in agriculture. So if you would like to register for those sessions, on the following slide, I've got a QR code that you can access to link. Otherwise, just Googling Pi for National Ag Day will be able to take you to that page. I can whack that in the chat as well once I finish up here too. The next one is that we have an online teacher professional development webinar taking place next Tuesday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. And that'll run for about 45 minutes. Again, I'll be talking about the Farmer Time program, but we'll also be showcasing the Career Harvest website and the Ag Career Start program, which is a gap year program that I mentioned earlier, facilitated by the NFF. And we'll also be talking about the Farm Safety program and the upcoming PIFA conference, which will be taking place in 2023. The final resource that I'll just talk to regarding National Ag Week is our primary and secondary digital teacher kits. And so essentially what these are 2 teacher kits that centre around specific Farmer Time sessions. So we've got a senior kit that looks at years 7 to 8 lessons and years 9 to 10 lessons. And so it provides you with Farmer Time sessions related to a number of industries, and then step-by-step instructions about how to deliver that session and an accompanying learning task to go with that. So these kits are free to access. All you need to do is complete a quick Google form and then they're emailed through to you. So you can also access those on our National Ag Week website as well. So I can whack that in the chat, but you can also visit the website via the QR code there. Thank you so much for your time. I know that I have run slightly over my allocated time, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and I can pop my email in there as well. So you can flick me an email at any stage if you have any questions about any of those resources.
That's amazing. My goodness, what a wealth of resources. I don't even know where to start. The finger limes, the MLA, all the red meat, and then the Farmer Times, all that sort of thing. It's just amazing, the support and the resources that PIFA is, has for teachers out there. So thank you so much for joining us, Jane, and showing us some of just the tip of the iceberg of what you've got going there in that PIFA space.
Pleasure. Sorry, I had to speak a million miles a minute just to get it all out.
No, not at all. I think you could keep talking for days and you still probably couldn't cover it all.
No, I could talk underwater, I think you'll find.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, thank you very much. Well, I might actually take you over to the DPI space and show you some of the recent resources which we've put out. So I'll just share my screen. Bear with me. So I'm Meg Dunford from the New South Wales DPI and the Schools program. Just bear with me. Hang on. Oh, hang on. It's hiding what I want to actually see here. Can you see my screen, or half a screen right there? Perfect, rightio. So I'm Meg Dunford from the New South Wales DPI. So obviously we're based in New South Wales and I'm in the schools team. So we're a team of 3. So our manager, Michelle Fifield, who's based in Orange here with me, and then Jo Hathaway, who is our primary expert. She's based at Tocal in the Hunter region. So to find all of our resources, just go to the dpi.nsw.gov.au homepage. Come over here to education and training. There's a heap of links here. So to Tocal College, if you've got students that might be sort of interested in getting some, some vet training or some actual certificates, 3 and 4 in a range of different courses through Tocal. Also, there's short courses through there. We've got our Tocal virtual farm, which so in that secondary space, we've got the farm case study. So for the ag, New South Wales Ag, the Year 11 farm case study, you can find a heap of resources for that if you haven't seen them. But to find pretty much all of them, you go to this school resources. You come to this page. So I'll be talking to you about our secondary resources, but here's our primary, teacher PD, the virtual farm. We've got our own YouTube channel with a heap of little videos that I do encourage you to have a look through. They might support what you're doing, but also, especially in that, we have our career space. So career space, we highlight a lot of people that were staff that work for the DPI in all sorts of areas, and we're always building that. So there's a lot of either videos or actually pamphlets on with like a investigation of a career, and those videos will be either through the careers page or the videos, and you'll find those careers insights. So, so the one that I'm going to take you today is our industry insights. So here's our little landing page. So it seems like a little bit of doubling up, but we'll keep up here any of our new teaching resources. These are the ones we're going to talk about today, so industry insights. So you can find them down here as well. Here. So the titles that we have, we've got dairy, pork, plant structure, crops and pastures, and weeds. So I might jump into, we'll do the plants first. How about we start with the plants? So with all of them, with all of the resources in this industry insight series, they pretty much consist of a classroom poster that you can actually use. I'll show you just through a click. Students can actually use it here, but if you would like to purchase the poster, it's slow in loading. Very slow in loading, I do apologise. There we go. So here's our weeds one. For example, if you did want to, in the series, in each of the resource sets, so for example, this is the weeds one. There's the poster. There will be a workbook and a suggested answer guide. So the workbook actually has activities all based through it. So you could use it as a unit, or as you can see, here's some of the titles in it. So we've got weeds in New South Wales, some activities, so some to improve literacy, plus there will be, that digital sort of literacy that can go to links. Some of the activities, they'll actually go find answers directly from the poster. So the concept of it can be that you can have it hanging in your classroom, so that, for example, this concept of weeds, this topic of weeds, this is some of the weeds in ag. We've got some water weeds and some environmental weeds that are all across the state. Now, obviously, this is a pretty small list of weeds, as we all well know. There's weeds absolutely everywhere. So, and so this is just some of the main ones that you'll find all around the state. So the concept is they can use the poster to answer. There's also links there that they can go on to activities. So there's also, in this one, there's integrated weed management. So going through the biological, cultural, physical, chemical, they'll do some reading and then some activities to sort of pull apart and get that concept of IPM, or I should say IWM, in our weeds, and that'll really pull apart that. And then there's a weeds investigation, so that students can either, investigate a specific weed to their, to their local area, or they can pick some weeds from the poster and actually investigate a little bit more, find out, an actual IWM strategy for that weed and how to control it. And as with all of our resources, we've also got links to other sites where they can find extra information. And then there are our syllabus links. So that's a real quick little one, the weeds one. So if you did want to purchase, obviously there's a suggested answer guide. There's links to purchase the poster. And down here at the bottom, we've actually got a bit of a better image. So these are all the weeds in the actual poster. So there are ag weeds, environmental weeds, so you can get a bit of a better image. And so this is linking to that syllabus dot point where students are to be identifying weeds and plants of significance in their local area and pertinent to ag. So there's our weeds. Go back to the plants and cropping. So this one, I do apologise. We've actually only just got the posters at this stage, because when we were putting together the series, when we do our print runs for the posters, I sort of had to make it worthwhile to have all the posters there. But I'm actually just about, it should be either the end of this year or early next year, there will be a whole unit on crops and pastures as well that you can use in your classroom. So similar to the weeds, but it'll be a bit bigger. So you can either use it a whole unit or pick out worksheets that'll align to whatever syllabus point you're talking about. So similar to the weeds, we've also got a bit of a better image down the bottom. So little slide shows that you can actually identify those plants and some of the seeds that go with them or flowers. So great little resource there. So have a look at that one later if you've got some time, because there's a fair bit in there. Now, in the plant series, this is actually, I shouldn't really have a favourite in the Industry Insight series, but I really do like this little resource. It was a lot of fun putting it together. So once again, we've got our plant structure and function poster. So it'll go through, you know, the parts of the plant, parts of the flower, a little bit more about that sexual reproduction in plants, so how a seed's formed. We've then got a contrasting key with the we'll see how quickly, oh look, this one's loading really well. Monocots and dicots. So once again, linking to the syllabus, and then growth stages of a monocot plant versus a dicot. And once again, same sort of concept. We've got all the activities, so we'll either link to the poster or we'll have external links which are provided to, you know, it's the suggested links that students might follow up to find answers for the activity through here, through the workbook. So the worksheets could be used either as standalone, once again, standalone worksheets for a topic, or could be used to build into a whole unit. There's also some suggested little prac activities. For example, this one's a plant dissection. You might grab some, you know, some typical, a great example for a flower for kids to dissect is like your lily. But then you also might mix it up a bit and actually get some, say, some crop flowers. So, for example, some oats or wheat or whatever you've got growing in your area at the time, and sort of get them to think about, you know, it doesn't look traditionally what we're thinking as a flower, but getting them to have a look under a microscope and actually look at the different parts and compare and see that they're actually all the same. So we're then talking about pollination. There's a concept, a little bit of tech there, so cloning. Monocots, dicots. So this is these activities here are using the poster, so they'll colour in different parts to identify and contrast what's the monocot, what's the dicot. And here's a little tick box. So then there's some images of different plants here, and so once they're sort of building that knowledge and understanding of what is a monocot and a dicot, then they can use this as a quick little activity to sort of identify what's going to be what, and to use that tick box and that concept of learning that it's not just one feature, that obviously when we're identifying plants, you know, contrasting between monocot and dicot, we've got to look at multiple features. So growth and development. Students will go through and identify the different stages of vegetative, flowering, growth all the way through to sort of harvest. Some more suggested activities. We go into photosynthesis and respiration, explaining how each works. Some cool little activities. Some follow-up learning activities to cement that learning. Some more suggested practical activities, and that's that one. But we've also got this, I've just added to this series is this little plant trials and experimental design. So this could be used either for ag or it could be if you're teaching stage 4 science, so it'll completely link up to experimental design in both. But it's really sort of, it's a beginner's resource for, you know, students really starting to cement that proper experimental design and what's involved. So the concept of this is to teach them right from the start, you know, what is good experimental design? What are the things that we have to really hammer home all those skills that they're going to need, whether it's ag or science or whatever they're learning through their learning careers at school. So there's some great, and if you've actually got, I really do, if you've got some time, I really do recommend you go and have a look at this. There's a great little activity on Scootle, and they can do, it's using tomato plants, and they can actually learn about experimental design by picking different variables, and it does a live simulation, and the little tomato plant will grow or won't grow, and using different types of fertilizer or water, or it's a really good little activity to cement that those fundamentals of experimental design. So here's some, so the concept of this is here's all sorts of different types of experiments that they could use, some sort of topic areas that they could go down if they're thinking about conducting their own experiment. I've also given a couple to, so if I were teaching this, I'd actually run them through, so if it was in the plant space, whether science or ag, I'd give them definitely two in that plant space, practical activities that we go step by step and make sure that they're really learning themselves before, experimental design, before sending them out to plan their own experiment. This gives a full list of equipment, the methodology, and also examples of how to put together a table properly and what to put what, and how to actually calculate some statistical analysis at the end, some graphing skills, diagrams, how to actually put together that discussion, because students, and conclusion, because students, as we all well do know, do have to struggle, especially in those early years of high school learning, about what to actually put where with their scientific experiments, and then a little analysis, and so then there's obviously suggested answers, and then there's also a little cotton strip comparative test, so another little one that they could do. So you could do one or two. Same sort of concept, everything's there for them, shows them how to set it up so that we've got randomisation all under control. What to do, why. One's looking at the microbial sort of breakdown, decomposition of different sort of materials to identify, some of the decomposers in the soil. That's a really fun little one. And that's sort of setting them on the track to then go out and plan their own experiment and carry it out. But here's a great little tick list that if you are conducting experiments, so it doesn't have to be with plants, you could use this if you're actually doing animal experiments as well. Tick list for what to remember when you're putting together an experiment. And a whole list of some concepts and even some links of little experiments that you could do with classes in different sort of areas, or to put kids on the right track if they're planning their own experiments. And then our syllabus links. So we'll go back. So that's the plan, structure and function. 54, so I've got 5 minutes, 5 minutes to then do the last two, sorry. So I will rush a little bit more. So our last two are dairy and pork. Dairy, we actually did release that a couple of years ago. So it is a collaboration with Dairy Australia. So once again, we've got our production poster, the worksheet and suggested answer, and the link to if you want to actually buy single posters or the whole set. Also, by following, it is a QR code, but you can just tap that link and you'll go to some great interactive activities that Dairy Australia put together to support this. So there's 4 learning modules and some, I really do suggest to have a look at those. They're really great to sort of engage students with management, in that dairy space. So I'll quickly go into the workbook. So once again, same concept. So you can definitely see that it's the same concept. So topics in this one is that there's anatomy, breeds, marketing, and so the value adding, cattle reproduction and technologies. So anatomy of and physiology of the male and the female, estrus cycle. We've got lactation and udder development. There's another link to our dairy interactivities, technology and careers. So I'll quickly race through this. So I've sort of left this so it could be, I've developed this one up, so it could be stage 4 or stage 5, but also into stage 6. So some of the activities that you can see is this one. They use the poster to sort of identify parts of the cow. Some of them are a bit more basic. So this is a breed investigation. And then it actually really steps up. So then we start going into milk processing, marketing, and value adding. This is high sort of stage 4 to stage 5 work. And it really steps up to when we're getting to the point of the actual, so this is market, so where Australian dairy sits, how the global trade sort of affects our milk prices. And it'll step up when we get to the reproduction. So some of these could be used if you're teaching stage 6 and sort of, so for example, the reproductive tract for stage 6 of animals. This could be used as a standalone worksheet if you're using that, or you could use this as a whole dairy topic. So all of these resources, as you can sort of see, they've been developed to be used how you want to use it. So use it as a whole unit, or just pick some worksheets out and use them, adapt them to your learners. There's a lot there about the estrus cycle, the different hormones. What do they all do? So that's straight stage 6 and stage 5, I guess. We've got the bull. It's explaining how the hormones interact with bull reproduction as well. Then we go into udder development. How is milk produced? Some great, what's happening with that milk cycle. Some graphing activities. This is actually talking about, this will be the links to the Dairy Australia interactivities. Current and emerging technologies with a little research investigation, and dairy careers with another, activity encouraging students. Here's some links that they can follow to actually research up some careers and find out a little bit of a deep dive into that dairy industry and syllabus outcomes. Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go. So our last one at this stage is pork. I shouldn't say that, and I say at this stage because it is a work in progress. So to these industry insights, I am actually currently working on a poultry one. It's nearly ready to go, but as I said, I've also got to go back in and develop up, and I've sort of started, but it's, hopefully the end of the year, early next year, crops and pasture, there should be 2 workbooks and answers for that one as well. Oh, sorry, I went to dairy again, goodness gracious. I'm not a great multitasker. One thing at a time. What's that? What's going on here? Sorry, I don't know why that link's not working. Right. So I'm blowing up the system now by the looks of things. What's going on? It really doesn't like it. I don't know if my computer's, I'm now at the final moment having some internet issues. I'll try this one. Okay, go through the back page. Goodness me. I think my computer's, my internet is literally taking it in. None of my links. What's going on here? Right. There we go, finally, pork production. So the list of titles in the, workbook titles, in this one, we've got pig anatomy, pig breeds, so processing, marketing, evaluating, markets and market specs, production system, so, from your free range to your barn sort of systems, animal welfare in the pork industry, pig diseases and biosecurity, swine digestive anatomy and physiology, nutrition and rations, reproduction and reproductive technologies, current and emerging technologies, careers, and then some prac activities. So poster, worksheets, answer guide. Down here, we've got a little slideshow showing some of the breeds. And also I want you to make aware if you're teaching pigs at school or would like to sort of boost up a little bit of self-identified PD, that Tocal actually does an online short course, which is in pig nutrition, which is a really handy one for if you're teaching monogastric nutrition, so whether you're doing poultry or pigs or what have you at school, and also for that stage 6 teaching requirement, syllabus outcome. So here's our pigs one, and the pig one actually is it's huge. So this one was one of my little COVID working from home activities, and without the travelling, my goodness, I sunk my teeth into it. So so this pork one, I'll quickly run through. Try and do it in 2 minutes. So a bit of the background of where pork is produced in Australia. Some little activities, and so once again, same thing for all of them. Please do use this and adapt it however you will, either as a full unit or you can pick out activities. Some of them are more simple, for example this type of thing, to there will be a lot more complex. We've also got the breed investigation activity, similar to the dairy one. And so the pictures back on that other slide, the little slideshow down the bottom showing the different breeds, that's them there. They can use that, or they can use the poster. We've got the different cuts. This is a great little YouTube clip. And so they'd watch that and then identify the different cuts of the pig. So what can they be used for? So then we're sort of going into a little bit more marketing. So different ways that pig producers will market their pigs. And then we go into the marketing chain. There's a nice little sort of flow diagram activity there for them. So this is specifically about that market specs. So this could be also if you wanted to do, say, a farm product study for stage 6. You could either use this one or the dairy one. There is a fair bit of info there about the different market specs, plus that marketing chain. So how to, where are the actual fat measurement sites on the pig, the specific markets, so oven, porkers, baconers, back fatters, activities sort of where to do this. There's some calculation activities here for identifying the dressing percentage of them. We go into some labelling, so really trying to hit home. Unfortunately, in the pork industry, a lot of, if you're actually buying cured meats, so cured pork in Australia, so things like ham, pastrami, anything like that, you will more often than not have been imported from Denmark. So it's really, really important. Or overseas, but especially Denmark is a massive pork producer that we import a lot of pork from, because we actually don't produce enough domestic pork in Australia to supply our market. So if you're eating fresh pork, so your chops or what have you, that'll be Australian. But if you're getting cured meats, please, I can't recommend more to encourage your students and yourselves to look for something with that Australian pork mark labelling on it to support our farmers. So some market activities. Some activities, so there's some suggested prac activities if you've got pigs in your school. So, condition scoring, moving pigs. What's this one? And then we go into the different production systems. There's some videos there, you can actually look at them and contrast. That was the welfare bit, so I did gloss through that very quickly. I will go quick now, sorry. And then we've got biosecurity and some diseases. So what is biosecurity? It's everyone's responsibility. These are some of the big Australian, so pork diseases that we either do have in this country or don't want to come in here. It's a nice little disease investigation. And then we go into our digestive system, so monogastric digestion. So you could use that if you're teaching that, or you could use it obviously integrated as a pork unit. Use it as a standalone or integrated if you're doing pork. We've then got nutrition, so this could be used, this activity here, a set of activities could be used if you're teaching the dot point in stage 6 to develop a ration. There's a lot more into the nutrition, lots of activities. This is a great little class activity that they actually develop a ration themselves and sort of pick a ration to best suit a production stage of a pig. Then we go into reproduction, and the female and the boar. So went to AI, how is AI done in pigs? Which is really quite interesting. Some more, so determining estrus, another little prac activity. Anyway, I will actually pull it up there. I'll pull it up there because I think I will have taken your time enough, and we're now over time. But, okay, radio. I hope that's actually been helpful. And I really do suggest there really is a lot there in all those workbooks, a similar sort of thing. It's nearly too much to sort of quickly gloss through in half an hour because you sort of see things, and it's a lot of those industry insights. It's have a look, download the PDF, have a look through it, have a good read, and work out where you might use it and how you could adapt it, whether you use it as a unit or different worksheets for different topics for your learners and what they require. So in that, I'll just leave you with the last thing is in that industry insight series, as I said, the cropping and pastures worksheets are coming soon. So there will be a poultry one. Hopefully it'll definitely be out at the beginning of next year. And then next year I also wanted to develop up some honey, beef and sheep ones to complement the series. So thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, and I guess I really have run us over time. I do apologise, but does anyone have any questions for Jane or myself?
I'd just like to comment on how thorough those booklets are. I think I've been teaching ag for 3 years now, but there is still industries that I'm probably not confident with, and those booklets and all the resources we've seen today is just a great start to, I guess, for your first time to do it with a booklet. And even for those kids that, I've got 2 ag classes and I find it hard to do the classic chalk and talk because they're not all listening to me at once.
Yeah.
So if I have a booklet, it's excellent for those that want to work a bit faster than others. They can just go ahead, and yes, you've got kids all over the place in the booklet, but you know that you are going to hit as many dot points on the syllabus, covering the right content, and those booklets and the farmer time is just, a snapshot of just to supplement each other. I think it's really great. And as much as the resources that I think every ag teacher has, the Blackline Masters Dynamic Ag books are great, but I've found some of them are a bit cryptic, and they're dated, and it's just great to see updated information, especially with marketing. It's sometimes hard to find current information that's at the level of the students of what they need. So it can be quite convoluted.
All in the one space. Yeah.
And it's all in the one space. So good. Yeah. So I did get a series of posters with weeds and I'm just thinking I might even invest on some other classroom posters, and whatever topic I'm doing at the time, just put them up, and that's a resource that the kids can use, or I can refer to as I'm teaching the topic. And being available online, whatever happens with online learning, you can direct them to this site or give them a link, and they've got it there at their fingertips on a laptop. For whatever reason you need them to be. So I think it's fantastic, and it just takes a lot of time to go through all this, but you've done well, Jane and Meg, just giving us a bit of a snapshot of what's there. But there's so many great resources. It's just a matter of where you want to use them and how to use them, I guess. So well done.
Lovely feedback. Thank you so much, Julie. That's lovely feedback. But I think that's definitely what we're all trying to do. So Fibre and DPI, we work together quite closely, sort of making sure that we're not recreating the wheel or, doing something that each other have done. So it's,
I think there's, just to add on that, I think there's lots of content that you need to cover in the syllabus. I'd try my best, and I think every teacher tries their best to finish it, but I'd challenge anyone to say that. Isn't it? I just don't know how you get through it, to be honest. But I've done a plant unit and a animal unit in terms 2 and 3, and this term is kind of focusing around technology and pretty much just finishing off. I didn't get a chance to get into marketing for my plant production unit, so I might revisit some of that anyway, just to sort of get it done and hopefully create, finish off the picture of the whole series. But I did ask, probably for you, Megs, with your posters, they're bloody great, but just with growth stages, I find it, you had your posters there with the seed, like a chickpea plant in vegetative stage, and then the seed. Is there any way we could get a series of posters made up that had the growth stages all the way through, like a poster for wheat, a poster for barley, a poster for canola? I suppose it's not, it could be a never-ending Pandora's box, but and I guess it's something we could still grow in the ag plot. Like here is wheat, here is barley. I guess coming from my background of an agronomist myself, knowing the difference between a wheat plant and a barley plant before it gets a head on it is not obvious to those who are learning. So maybe just good photos
and
of
plant identification as well.
And even weeds. Weeds look very different from when they're a seedling to when they're mature, and it's kind of, I find it hard to find a good resource that in winter time you're looking at these weeds and they're at their vegetative stage, and some weeds look very similar, and until they get a flower, it's hard to sort of tell what you're looking at. But if that can be worked on. I suppose in your area, Jane, just getting an agronomist that's in the field to take us on a tour of a paddock and show us, like pull up a plant and show us like in the flesh, and then Megs's department can create a poster to complement that. I don't know.
Definitely. No, that's a great idea. My sister's an agronomist. I'll swindle her into it.
Cool.
That's
I've even got on the job as an agronomist. It's quite difficult to just be confident to know what you're looking at, but choosing chemicals and that. So, and for kids, I'm sure, as you've stated, there's hundreds of weeds that you've got to know about. But
where do you even start and stop?
I know, that's right. If you know Patterson's Curse and Cape weed, well, I guess that's something. But that's but no, posters are excellent. I did try and laminate one not long ago, and the laminate doesn't really stick very well because they're that rough. So I don't think they're made to be laminated. I think they're made to just put up as you have them. But the laminate didn't really stick.
I actually got some laminated, costly though, but because
we
were on the road, it was I think it was $80 for the full set, which is costly when you're buying the set as well. But it was Officeworks did it.
Okay.
Okay.
We did have our own laminator here, and I'm not sure if it was the laminator or just the texture on the poster that was a bit rough, if you know what I mean. Like but anyway, no, they're great photos on them, and they'll definitely come in handy. So
Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie. Yeah.
No worries.
Any other questions?
No, I just want to reiterate what she's just said, that there's a great set of resources. I'm looking forward to going through them and either using them as a unit or picking out bits and pieces of it. But yeah, it's probably going to be a holiday job, I'd say, because it's going to go, because you've got quite large documents there, but they look so comprehensive. I think they'll be really good. And I sort of, as you're going through, I'm going, oh, that'll be really good for that. Oh, that'll be really good for that. So looking forward to sitting down and going through them.